In JavaScript, where and how you declare variables really matters. Ever tried using a variable before it's declared or wondered why some variables seem to disappear outside a function? That's where scope and hoisting come into play. Let's break it down in the easiest way possible. So, before jumping into VS Code, let's first understand what is a scope. Scope defines where variables can be accessed or used in your code. There are mainly three types. Global scope means the variable is accessible everywhere in the code. Then function scope. Function scope means the variable is only accessible inside the function where it's defined. Lastly, we have block scope. Block scope introduced with lead and const in ES6 means the variable is only accessible within the block, like inside a loop or an if statement. Understanding scope helps you avoid errors and write cleaner code. Now let's open VS Code and see some examples to understand scope. So here in VS Code, let's create a new folder, scope and hoisting. Inside it, I am going to create a new file named scope.js. So let's zoom it a little bit. Perfect. So let's first create a new function. So here I am creating a new function called test, and inside it let's create a new variable using lead keyword. Lead name is equal to John, and now let's log the name here, console.log name. Okay, now let's run this function test, and I'm running the code. Yeah, so in the terminal you can see we got the value printed John. Now let's try to log the name outside of this function. So console.log name, and now let's run the code. So here you can see I got an error saying name is not defined. Why this happened? Because the name is only accessible inside this function. So this is called function scope. Now let's see global scope. So if I declare a variable at the top of this code, let's declare a variable here, const age is equal to 55. This age variable has global scope, means I can access this age variable everywhere inside this file. For example, if I want to log the age here, then you can see we got the age printed in the terminal. I can also use the age here. So console.log age. Now you can see we got the age printed 2 times. So this age variable has global scope. Now let's see what's the difference between var, const and let keyword. So var keyword has function scope and let const keyword has block scope. What it means? Let's see it by an example. So first I am commenting this code, and then here let's declare two new variables inside these curly braces. Let's declare it using let keyword. Let name equal to Mike. Now let's declare one more variable using const keyword, name2 equal to John. And now let's declare the last variable using var keyword. So var name3 equal to Stephen. Okay, now you can see here I have created three variables here. Now let's log them one by one outside of this curly braces. So here first I'm logging console.log name, and let's run the code. So you can see I got an error saying that name is not defined. Let's see the second variable, name2, running the code. Same error, name2 is not defined. But when I log name3, this time you can see I can access that variable, which means the var keyword has function scope. These curly braces are not blocking var keyword. Now let's see what is hoisting. Hoisting is a behavior where variable and function declarations are moved to the top of their scope before the code runs. This means you can use functions or variables before they are actually declared in the code. But remember, only the declarations are hoisted, not the initial values. So if you try to use a variable before assigning a value, it might give you undefined or even an error depending on how it's declared. So let's see it practically in Visual Studio Code. So here in Visual Studio Code, I'm going to create one more new file named hoisting.js. Inside this file, now I'm declaring a new variable using var keyword. So var name equal to jack, and above this line I'm going to log the name. So console.log name. Now let's run the code. So here you can see our code got successfully executed without any error, and in the terminal we got the value undefined. So as you can see in the code, we have declared the variable after logging it, but in the terminal we did not get any error. This is because of hoisting. On the time of executing this code, JavaScript hoisted our name variable at the top of the code. That's why we didn't get any error. But I have already told you only declarations can be hoisted, not the initializations. That's why we got the value undefined here. So that's how hoisting work with var keyword. But it's not the same for let and const keyword. Now let's see it using let and const keyword. So here I'm going to change the var to let, and now let's run the code again. Now you can see I got an error saying that cannot access name before initialization. Now let's change it to const. So changing it to const, running the code again. Again we got the same error, cannot access name before initialization. So hoisting only work with variable if we declared using var keyword. So here first let's comment this code. Now let's create a new function named hello, and inside this function let's log console.log hello world. Now I'm calling this function. So I'm calling this function here. Now let's run the code again. Yeah. So you can see we got the value printed hello world even though we have declared the function after it's getting called. That's why our code got executed without any error. So on the time of execution, JavaScript will hoist our function at the top of our code. On the time of execution, this will become like this. So JavaScript will hoist it at the top of our code like this. That's why we didn't get any error here. But if I create a new function using var keyword, var, then hello2, and this is gonna do the same thing, logging hello world. Now let's call this function before the declaration. So calling hello2 here, hello2, and let's comment the above line. Now let's run this code again. So here you can see we got an error, hello2 is not a function. So we got an error because declarations are hoisted but not the expressions or initialization. So this hello2 got hoisted at the top, but at the time of execution this hello2 will be undefined here. That's why we got an error, hello2 is not a function. Always declare variables at the top and use let const for better clarity. So that's it for today's video. I hope you understood this concept. If you want the source code, then please do check out in the description. I'll attach a link there. This video is a part of a JavaScript course, so please do check out our playlist. If you found this video helpful, then like this video, share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then click the subscribe button and also press the bell icon. I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding everyone.